Let's get into the top 5 things that you need to know.
Let's do it. So moving into our top 5 news segments this week, the first headline that we want to break into, Herwig, is that Gary Gensler has officially been approved to be the SEC chairman. So as we talked about here on the show many times, the former chairman of the SEC, Jay Clayton, stepped down following the end of the presidential term, which is, as we understand, is customary, and the new president then selects who their choice is for the head of the SEC. And Gary Gensler has now been approved by the Senate and is officially now the chairman. It's been rumored for months, but it had to go through that process. And this is a pretty big headline because Gary Gensler is somebody that's been very pro-blockchain and crypto in the past, so much so that he's taught multiple courses on blockchain at MIT, which is one of the top engineering schools here in the United States. And he's dedicated to building a sustainable environment for blockchain and the development of technology in capital markets. So this is a really big deal, I think. We expected this to go through, but good for U.S. capital markets, I'd say.
Congratulations to Gary Gensler, and much needed now as the SEC can kind of, in that little limbo period as they've been waiting for this nomination to occur, and they can focus on what is expected to be a new agenda, of course, under a new term. We did see in the last term that Jay Clayton said that all stocks could one day become tokenized, and given that our new commissioner here has an even better understanding of blockchain technology, given what you just mentioned about his MIT experience, I think it's definitely, as you said, positive for the markets. We saw some inference of how he acted under the CFTC chair position under the Obama administration back in the day as well. And before that, he was with Goldman Sachs, where he was a partner with the mergers and acquisitions group, as well as a bunch of other positions within the company. So he's got a very good understanding of capital markets, and we've seen from here and there that we expect him to be relatively pro-blockchain. It can't be said for sure. And then he's also very focused on the capital markets. The GameStop fiasco is a big thing on their radar right now to figure out how they're going to manage this market volatility and some of the issues that occurred through that, as well as the fact that he's also focused on ESG and making it better for capital markets to work with and foster ESG opportunities and things like that.
So we know that there's the SEC is not going to do some 180-degree change and allow for full DeFi of everything and permissionless trading, all this ridiculousness. But they're going to take certainly a pretty compliant stance. But I think that we can be excited that they're going to be pro-blockchain and open to some of the new advancements and developments, because the reality is that the current structure and system is just not suited for what we're looking for from an industry and from a financial system at all. And I think that transitions pretty well into point number 2 about another SEC commissioner with some plans to help drive the markets forward.
Absolutely. I mean, the big question that we're going to be looking at now is XRP case. Is this going to now change under new leadership, and what can happen there? And to your point, we've been yearning for some kind of a digital asset framework with clarity, and that's what number 2 that you need to know. Commissioner Hester Pierce, one of the other 5 members of the SEC, has come out with a version 2.0 of her safe harbor framework for digital assets. And so actually back in, I believe it's 2020, she came out in February and said, version 1, we need some kind of way for ICO projects and utility token projects to create some kind of path towards decentralization without needing to register as a security and adhere to the securities rules. And so this safe harbor, which is designed to then basically give cover to the issuers and the entrepreneurs who are developing these quote unquote utility projects, it would give them 3 years of cover where they would then have to prove that they had reached some kind of network maturity, as she defines it, to show true decentralization, or otherwise, of course, expect registration with the SEC. And so this is, of course, something that would help the industry move forward tremendously, because it creates that digital asset framework, that clarity within the United States, at least temporarily, for ICOs looking to kind of reach that, true utility status, as we've seen now in question with the Ripple case around XRP.
Yeah, we've seen with regulators around the world how there's been this really beneficial piece known as a sandbox, a regulatory sandbox that essentially allows companies to work under the watchful eye of the regulators while still being able to to experiment a little bit, be able to push the boundaries of what the rules say, because oftentimes the rules don't explicitly describe a lot of the technological changes that we've been seeing in the internet age. So, Singapore has been a leader in this space, developing a full regulatory climate where issuers can be approved, and then they graduate after a year or 2 years after the government there can take a look and make sure things are going well. And so in the US, we haven't seen anything like that, except for what's being proposed here by Hester Pierce. And so essentially, she, as you mentioned, published her thoughts on this in, I guess, a year ago now, received feedback from the community, both from the pro-blockchain and from the crypto community that maybe wanted her to be even more expansive, but more specifically getting feedback from those that are maybe more conservative, giving her feedback on how that they can structure something that will be productive while still not necessarily being too flexible and allowing things to happen in a crazy or unsustainable way. And so some of the developments for 2.0 that she just published include semi-annual disclosures and a full block explorer. And really what this means is that a company that's approved for this safe harbor, which as you mentioned would be a 3-year period where you would not be prosecuted from a regulatory perspective on whether you were trading an investment contract or not. And that's really what this comes down to. Is your asset a security or like a stock, anything like that? Or is it a commodity? Is it something that could be traded without needing a level of investment expertise or anything like that, right? And so these companies approved for this safe harbor would need semi-annual disclosures talking exactly about what they're doing, how they're performing, keeping everybody up to date, as well as a block explorer, which allows the SEC or the government to track on the blockchain what's exactly happening. So essentially they could audit this platform or any platform accepted at any time to make sure that these things are happening sustainably. Then the other big thing was that they needed legal counsel, or any firm would need a legal counsel that explains the exit opportunity. The idea here is saying, okay, after this 3-year grace period, what's your plan? Are you just going to leave this 3-year period and be caught with your pants down and have no idea about what your platform is doing? Or do you have a structured way that you think this is really going to allow you to get to the point of sufficient decentralization, or any of these different legal jargony terms that have been used in the past? So those are 2 important pieces that she's added. The other cool thing about it is that she actually posted the 2.0 framework on GitHub, which is the largest forum for developers and for the tech side of people. So it's cool to show that she's not just kind of pushing this out as a legal thing. She's really trying to connect with the community. And between her and Gensler, 2 out of 5, very, very pro-blockchain, pro-development of capital markets. It's exciting stuff.
We'll see. That's the big question. Will Gensler and the rest of the committee adopt something like this? Remember, this is just her proposal of a safe harbor. This is not, in fact, any kind of proposal by the SEC or anything like that. So we'll wait and see to see how the SEC actually ends up reacting to this version 2 of the proposal.
Absolutely.
Now let's move into number 3. Société Générale, one of the largest banks in the world out of France, has yet again created history in the security token space. Back in 2019, they launched the first tokenized bond by an institution that's actually on Ethereum. And back in 2020, they did a second bond. The first one, I believe, was a 100 million euro bond. The second bond in 2020, they actually settled with a central bank digital currency created by the Bank of France, the central bank. So that, again, another novelty proving the full capability of blockchain-based securities. And now, finally, they have officially launched a structured financial product. So not quite a bond, but actually a full investment product that people can go and buy. It was, I believe, for about 5 million euros. And more impressively, through their partnership, or through their subsidiary, I should say, with Forge, which is their security token arm, they actually made it so that this structured product can interface with the SWIFT banking network, which is definitely no easy feat to bring the old world into the new. And it's worth mentioning, Kyle, I think as well, that this project was built using the Tezos blockchain. So previously, and Société Générale has been open about this, that they were testing Ethereum, but they're testing other solutions too. And in this case, they did this latest one on the Tezos blockchain.
That's fascinating stuff. I think that Société Générale has really been a pioneer in the tokenization space, really leading the way for other investment banks to follow suit and showing the real benefits of blockchain. As you said, this is not their first rodeo. This is a public offering, which is fantastic. Very, very exciting stuff. They also announced that they're going to be launching a professional service for clients that they're going to be launching alongside Forge in 2022 to potentially replicate replicate this process for other issuers, other people looking
That's
to get
huge.
involved. This is very, very exciting stuff. This is no bank to sleep on, and they're really driving adoption of the industry. Fantastic stuff from Societe Generale.
Totally agree, Kyle. Now let's get into number 4, Equisafe. What are they up to?
So Equisafe is a blockchain platform. They're launching a bunch of projects, but they made headlines for launching a secondary market. They're launching Equisafe markets also out of France. And so they didn't give us a ton of details on this, aside from that they're launching with a real estate operator called Carthega. And Carthega is a real estate operator that has, I think, a bunch of real estate in Tunisia. And alongside that, they're going to be tokenizing their deal. I think it's equity in Carthega that will be trading on Equisafe markets sometime in the near future. This is very exciting stuff. Another security token trading platform coming up. France, again, showing that it's making serious moves in the blockchain space.
And another token being listed and trading soon. Also extremely exciting. And worth mentioning that this platform also was built on the Tezos blockchain. It is a blockchain-based secondary market developed by Equisafe. So very, very exciting. We'll hopefully be able to track those transactions and bring them onto security token market as well.
To my knowledge, the first Tezos exchange that's trading secondary security tokens. So
That's
very
big.
exciting stuff.
Very big. Now, for number 5, the hot topic we all love to discuss here is Coinbase. And Coinbase has officially IPO'd. They made waves and history across the entire world. Everybody took notice, which was a great thing, as many see this act as a big solidification, a big legitimization of cryptocurrency and the blockchain industry. And that's a big deal because actually one of the things that we know is potentially on the horizon. They've been prepared. They've got multiple broker-dealer subsidiaries with the right licenses in order to do this, is to also enable tokenized stock trading and security token trading. So we already know that they custody several different security tokens with their custody arm as well. They've invested in leading issuance platforms, Securitized with Coinbase Ventures. And now that they're public, they are having big ambitions, and baked into their big valuation is the idea and potential that they will start to enter into the rest of the capital markets with their platform as well. And that is exciting news. We don't know when, but it probably is inevitable.
Fascinating stuff here. They mentioned in a Ask Me Anything led by Brian Armstrong, the CEO, and some of his other executives, that they had explored potentially doing a security token offering, felt the infrastructure wasn't quite there to facilitate what they were looking for. Understandable, because it's still very, very early, but something we wish that we could have seen for sure. But yeah, Coinbase looks like they're really going to be getting involved, and certainly this is a massive step towards legitimacy for the blockchain industry. We also saw it was followed by a sell-off in some Bitcoin and other crypto assets as more institutional platforms looking to get exposure into the Bitcoin industry, maybe want to invest in some of Coinbase's equity instead of just buying Bitcoin itself. So that's kind of an interesting topic to watch. But tokenized stocks, man, we now see Coinbase listed on FTX as well as Binance. It's going to be very interesting to see how the tokenized stock trades to the IPO, the one on the actual stock market here on
That's
NASDAQ.
definitely the case. And we do see a lot of platforms and exchanges develop their own kind of token, rewarding you to some of the profits, such as the Binance token or the T0 token in the United States. Who knows? Maybe we'll see a Coinbase security token for revenue share one day too. We can only speculate, but we'll be sure to keep you up to date on anything related to security tokens and Coinbase. But for now, those are the top 5 things.